Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So Cryptic Studios just had a stream where they were introducing us to some of the developers and talking about the upcoming new mount and companion, most likely for next week, that will be in the next lockbox. Now, very nicely, I've got my hands on this new mount and companion and I can test it out and showcase it to you guys. They did so on stream, so you may have seen this already, but we can see it in a bit more quality. First of all, we have the new mount, the Deadly Drider form. Looks a little odd when you inspect it since it's got kind of a dummy right there, but it has the powers of uncanny precision, just accuracy and combat advantage, and then Loth's gift, which looks a little bit interesting, but not very reliable. Otherwise, the stats, yes, it has 4 insignia slots, and let's get this thing equipped and we can see exactly what insignia bonuses we'll be able to get on it. Again, it will be coming from the new lockbox, most likely again next week or the week after that. So we have this new mount, the Deadly Drider form, and let's go and have a look at the visuals. So we go and we mount up and you can see, there we go, we are now a Drider. Lots of other people have it here too. Basically removes the bottom section of our character and replaces it with, a spider. The spacebar animation is just like so. You just kind of roar up and that's it. A Drider, a red Drider. But we can have a look at its powers. It has Loth's gift and the equip power of uncanny precision. Again, just stats. Can be pretty useful for a damage dealer, accuracy and combat advantage. Let's have a look at Loth's gift against some dummies. The jump animation is a little bit creepy. But against the dummies right here, we activate our combat power. It's an area. Putting it down summons the spider, and you can see they all take damage over time while within the area. And we also gain these stacks. Every half second we gain a stack. And once we have all of the stacks, they expire pretty quickly. Yeah, so it's going to give you the stacks over 10 seconds, and pretty much when you reach the maximum stacks, they then kind of all expire. But it can be useful because it's giving us power, crit severity, defense, and awareness. And a total of 1.5% to your power and crit severity and 0.75% to your defense and awareness. That 0.75% totals up to 20 stacks, which is 15% defense and awareness. Useful survivability tool, but unfortunately you're going to have to prepare for it. Because to gain those bonuses, yes, you do gain them pretty quickly, but in order to rely on that, you're going to have some pretty good timing. Again, once we hit 20 stacks, it lasts for about 5 seconds and they're gone, even less than 5 seconds. But the damage over time adds up. Since it lasts 10 seconds, that's over 1,000 magnitude. Let's have a look at it in our stable. Here it is. It has the insignia slots of a regal, a barbed, universal, and then an illuminated as its preferred. The insignia bonus list is right here. Protector's Covenant, Lionheart's Preservance, Curse of Resolve, and then on the older ones, Shepherd's Devotion and Protector's Camaraderie. That's great, Shepherd's Devotion. I really love this one on a support, a healer, or a tank for the speed boost. It's mainly going to give you defensive bonuses, but let's move on to testing the companion. The mount overall is okay, and it's got some unique things going for it. It will be best in slot in your stable if you're a tank, that's for sure. So the companion is a Minotaur mercenary. You can see it's going to give us impactful maneuvers, nothing special, just a bonus power and forte that will be dependent on your summoned companion. Right now we don't have one summoned. If we go ahead and do so, we can see that there you go, it's 3.75%. It's just rounded up to 3.8%. Total of 7.5% stats. Then the defensive power is Igneous Skin, which is kind of a niche bonus. Decent for tanks, potentially for a DPS. Now, we're going to go and equip this thing and have a look at that properly. But before we do that, let's have a look at its powers. It has the ability to spin to win. Basically, whirling around, dealing lots of damage in an area. And then it has Stone Cleaver, a powerful cleaving melee strike that damages foes directly in front of him. And then Tidal Force, which is quite interesting. You're using an innate magical ability to briefly increase the gravitational mass the Minotaur pulls nearby enemies into its close striking range. This is pretty neat, and we'll see how effective it will be. So let's get the thing equipped, binding it, and we can summon the Minotaur. And that's what he looks like, right there beside me. Not too big, not going to be dominating your screen like some other companions, and he does have some pretty decent fashion with him. Again, his bonus was Igneous Skin. You can see the actual stats now. Once every 30 seconds when you take damage, you trigger a buff that reduces the damage you take by 10% and increases the AoE damage you deal for 7.5% for the next 10 seconds. So we'll hop over to the training room and just check, does it actually give us that buff or not? And yeah, I don't particularly like this mount. It's a bit too creepy for my liking. But first of all, let's test that Igneous Skin. We go to Dummy and we let it hit us. Once it hits us, you can see we obtain the icon Igneous Skin. And it should reduce the damage we take and increase the AoE damage we deal. We'll check our combat log, and we can see its melee attack has the effectiveness of 72.3% against us. And when the Igneous Skin triggers, this should reduce the damage we take by 10%, reducing the effectiveness down to 65%. So it does work in that regard. As for giving us the damage boost on AoE attacks, this is probably going to be very specific to certain powers. Some may not be considered AoE, where some might be. So we just attack this dummy, get our average damage, and you can see with our Valorous Strike we're hitting for 8,800. That's on crit and that's on a non-deflect. So we can have a look then, if we actually go and equip the power, that we are indeed seeing a damage increase up to 9,400. So it's working, but very oddly, this is not an AoE attack, and it's working to provide us the damage bonus for it. More testing is going to have to be done, but I see it as not exactly something you want to rely on, as you only gain the bonus for 10 seconds every 30 seconds at maximum. So let's check the Minotaur. First, I want to check him against some dummies. So just having some weak enemies here that can be crowd controlled, we can have a look right here. He pulls them towards him and then just kills them. Alright, we better increase their hit points. Again, entering combat, he pulls them towards and then knocks them. Doesn't seem to hit for an awful lot, and he has the swinging ability. Yeah, seems alright, but let's test the single target damage. So just against one dummy with combat advantage. So yeah, his single target damage, pretty mediocre. We're looking at like 11 to 12,000 DPS. Again, this is all open to change. It hasn't been officially released yet. His maximum hit seems to be up to like 105k. That is decent on his Tidal Force. That's where he sucks the enemies towards him and then damages them in quite a large area. Perhaps we can see the exact area on the power. It is indeed range 50 feet. That is huge. Yeah, he will be affecting quite a lot of enemies. But yeah, single target damage, pretty underwhelming. But one last thing, I want to check him against some actual enemies. I made a video earlier going over some AoE companions and potentially he could compete. So in the new zone here, we go to our group of enemies and let's have a look what he can do. Right there, he begins his pull and then he knocks them. He doesn't pull them exactly very far. And then otherwise he's spinning to win and can just damage everything around him. Yeah, he seems pretty solid. And if he's shopping from the new lockbox, being account wide on Mythic already, definitely going to be one of the contenders. Going to the next group of enemies again, just immediately sucking them towards him. And then he should start spinning here to just absolutely ruin the rest of their hit points. Yeah, I see him as quite a good contender. Resummoning him again before you go into the next fight should just reset his AoE ability. there you go. Again, having 50 feet range is just massive. And that crowd control as well, disabling the enemies from attacking. Yeah, I see this guy as doing really well. Just again, he's only going to affect the dudes who are actually controllable. So guys with 4 dots or less. That's majoritively all these normal adds within your questing zones. But with that, that's the showcase of the new mount and the new upcoming companion that will be on the new lockbox. We don't know much more about the lockbox yet. More news on it next week. Massive thank you again to all these channel members for their added support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.